Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist here at Adobe. And a big good morning to everyone joining us live on this beautiful Monday morning. If you are joining us live on Behance, throw it in the chat. Let me know who you are, where you're tuning in from, and if you're brand new to Adobe XD. A big good morning or afternoon to Damien and Agnes and Andy and Panjaj. And if I mispronounce anyone's name, I do apologize. And Kita and Chris Cannon is in the house, one of our awesome mentors. Tim, one of our moderators. And it's nice to see everyone bright and early. Well, not so much bright and early. We changed up the schedule a little bit. We're now live at 11:30. Oh, here we go. Here's all the names. Kasuyag is coming in. And Samantha from Philly and Paulo. Kristen from LA. Usually I stream from LA, but today I am streaming live from San Francisco. We've got a lot planned this week. We got some good stuff coming up, and if we pull up our schedule, we've got the XD Daily Challenge. I'm kicking things off at 11:30. Tomorrow at 9:30, I'll be here with Jessica Moon. We're gonna be designing some really cool stuff using Adobe XD. At 11:30, I'll be back with day one of the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. Then right after that, we're doing something different. We've got Terry White, who's actually sitting right over there, at 12 o'clock with a Photography Daily Creative Challenge, which is super cool. I'm really excited for that. And then we've got Eunice Wu at 12:30 doing some cool Photoshop stuff. So we've got some really nice stuff packed in this week. It's gonna be full of stuff. If you're into photography, definitely stick around after this show. If you want more, 2 times Howard. You got a lot of Howard, a lot of boops. It's gonna be a good week. So, what is the XD Daily Creative Challenge? And what's planned for this week and next week? So let me hop over to my screen here. And this is the landing page you're gonna be going to, behance.net/Daily Creative Challenge. And there's a few things to take note of on this page. First, there's a big blue button at the top. That'll allow you to register for this challenge so you get notifications through Creative Cloud when we do release new challenges every single morning at 8 o'clock. We're gonna release a new challenge starting tomorrow. So definitely hit that big blue button. Now, how does it work? So every single day you're gonna receive a challenge, and then every single day at 11:30, except the weekends, I want my weekends to myself. 11:30, I'm gonna be here kicking things off for that day, giving you a little bit of inspiration on what you can possibly do with that challenge. And then you're gonna use Behance to share your work using the keyword XD Daily Challenge. And then you have until May 29th or 27th, I believe that's next Monday, not next Monday, but the Monday after that. Weeks are hard, to complete all your challenges. But as I've mentioned, every single challenge, we do this to really help beginners, help someone who's maybe just getting into UI and UX, learn something new. Maybe you've never used Adobe XD before. So if you can't complete a challenge every single day, not a problem. Take a few extra days, polish it up, and even after the challenge is complete, you can always go back and make changes if you want to. So it's not a competition, no rush. Take your time, make things awesome. Here's a little bit of video how to get started, upload your stuff to Behance. You can join us on Discord and grab XD for free. And then here's our Discord link. So head over there. You can also go to, if we pull up the link right here on the screen somewhere, there we go, I forgot the link, bit.ly/XD Discord, X and D capitalized, you can go there. And if I hop over to Discord, we've got a lot of people. We've got about 3,200 people in Discord right now, introducing themselves, letting us know where they're from, asking for feedback, giving feedback. We've got some awesome mentors, including Chris Cannon, who is in the chat. We've got Peter Del Tondo, Tim, a lot of cool people. Melody's in there from time to time. If you need questions answered, you can talk, whatever. It's a good time. Good people, good time. And then down here at the bottom, this is where the challenges will unlock. Again, starting tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning, the first challenge will unlock right here. So with that said, there's a few things we want to touch on in this stream. One, if you're brand new to Adobe XD, head over to letsxd.com. A lot of great content on there. With the May update coming at some point in May, there's gonna be a lot more content on there, and this homepage is gonna be filled with cool stuff. But if you're brand new, you can jump in here, learn the basics from designing, prototyping, and sharing, import your content, and all the way, you know, up to advanced prototyping techniques. And if you're on the go, if you want to just snack on some content, got some snackables here, you can watch those as well. So let me hop over to Adobe XD. What we want to do for this stream, just to kind of get you familiarized with, so you're saying, is that a coffee cup? No, we edited that out. Just to get you all familiarized with Adobe XD, I want to go over some of my favorite features of XD and kind of show you what's possible to get you inspired for the upcoming challenges. And if you have any questions throughout this stream, throw them in the chat. And Chris is also asking about voice channels. In Discord, you can also hop in voice channels. Some of the mentors provide feedback, and no sneak peeks for me today, but the May update is coming. So yeah, Discord has voice channels. You can hop in there and talk to people, get feedback from mentors and that sort of thing. So we're gonna start off with repeat grids, one of my favorite features of Adobe XD, actually one of the first features of Adobe XD. It was announced right alongside the beta, and if you let me know in the chat what the beta is, what the beta was called, and if you wanna get even crazier, no, I will not be sneaking. No sneaks from me today, but May update is coming. Let me know in the chat what the beta was called for XD, and then to go even crazier, what was it before the beta? I wanna know if you guys know. So repeat grids, one of my favorite features. Let me show you how this works. Now to start, I have this card here. We can use it for a user card, a photo card, whatever it might be. Let me actually show you how to create something like this in XD, just so you guys all get familiarized with some of the basic tools of XD. So, and yeah, Arya is saying we're getting guides, not rulers, but guides. They do function like rulers, and the polygon tool. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming, which we will talk about soon. Anissa, yeah, Project Comet was the beta, and then Sparkler was what it was before that. Alrighty, so just very simple. I'm gonna grab my rectangle tool from the left on the side in the tools panel. I'm gonna draw out a little bit of a rectangle. And you can work so fast in Adobe XD just by grabbing your tools, dragging things out, and we do have cool smart guides that kind of just, whoops, snap into place. And of course, actual guides are coming, but you know, you're noticing as I'm moving things around, if I want this centered, you're just noticing it kind of snaps really nicely to the center of my document. I can move things behind, Command and Control, and then the right square bracket key. I can select multiple objects, change the fill of multiple objects if I want to, turn off the border. There's so many things you can do really quickly in Adobe XD, just like that. Grab my ellipse tool, draw one out like that. And again, those smart guides are helping me throughout the process, which is really nice. Maybe I want a little bit of a border on this shape here. And I'm not gonna worry too much about the colors at the moment because I am gonna be filling most of these shapes with images. So we're gonna leave it looking just like this. Maybe set the fill of this to white. I'm gonna grab my text tool, just type out the word, username. Oh, I can't see it. I should change it to a darker color, just like that. And one of my favorite features in XD, aside from repeat grids, is just how simple things are to navigate and adjust elements of your project. So right below here, there's a little tiny handle below point text. And all you have to do is just drag it up, drag it down, and just make it bigger or smaller. Super cool, super convenient. And then I might want a button. So I'm gonna just draw out a button just right down here, just like that. Make sure it's centered. I can use my eyedropper tool if I want this color. And then you'll notice on rectangles, there's 4 little dots on the inside, and that'll allow me to just round at the corners. I can make them super round if I wanted to, or just a little bit. Let's go for super round, because I know a lot of you in the chat do like completely rounded corners, so I will do that. There we go, and now we have our little card. Now I do want to add a little bit of a heart, so let me hop over to Nucleo, right over here, and it is an SVG, so I can just grab a little heart icon here, drag it into XD, pop it into place, and because it's SVG, I can change the border color. Super simple. I can change the border width. There we go, and pop it into place right there. Perfect. And I might, just to finish this off, write the word follow. I can change the weight on the right. Oops, perfect. Pop that in place. And just to keep everything organized, I might want to hop over to my layers, make sure to select multiple layers, so I can hold down Shift and then click on this layer. Now I have both these layers selected, and then Command and Control G to group everything. And I can just name this follow button. And I might want, you know what? this entire card grouped. Just like I did before, I'm gonna name this card. Perfect. All right, so now that we have a card created, what do we do, right? We might be in a situation where we want to be able to have multiple cards on our project. Now, instead of duplicating this card manually over here and then duplicating another one down here, and then for each one, you really don't want to have to find images and drag it into each one. You just want to be able to create multiple cards, grab some images, throw them in there, and have a great time, right? So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm going to select the card, which is all in a group right now. It doesn't have to be in a group. You can also select multiple layers. And then over here to the right, we have the repeat grid button. You press that, boop, there we go. And we've got these handles. We've got one on the right and one at the bottom, and that will allow me to drag out additional cards. So I can just drag this out, and now we have 2 going horizontally. We can also drag one just below, just like that. And I can hover my mouse in between any of these to adjust the spacing and the padding, just like that. I can move this so it's centered in my document. That looks pretty good. And one of the cool benefits of repeat grids is the ability to make a change once and it just propagates throughout the entire grid. So if I wanted to change what this circle looked like, maybe I want it a little bit smaller, I can just do it on one of the instances and it just pushes to all the cards. If I wanted the border, let's say, to be sharp edge, I can just do that instead. And you're noticing it updates on all of it. But what's really cool is the ability to add content to a repeat grid. So let me hop over to Finder. I've got some images here. So I'm just gonna simply grab all these images. And of course you could drag one image at a time into these spots, but we're not really about that life. We just wanna select all of these images here, all 4 images, pop them into this repeat grid. They are fairly large images, so it might take a second, but there we go. It just loads all the images into my grid. What's even cooler is it also works with text files. So let's say I wanted to show the destination, right, of this place. So let me zoom in here. I'm gonna hop into this repeat grid and just type out destination. I'm gonna make sure it's left justified, pop it right about here so it lines up with the heart. There we go. Maybe I'll make this a little bit bold. Perfect. And then what I can do is hop back over to Finder. I've got this text file here. This is the destination. Just pop this into here, onto this text file, and you're gonna notice it populates throughout the entire repeat grid. Now, obviously this is not Boston, so I can just jump in here and override this individual text layer. So it's super simple to use. The same works if I go back and let's say I find some people. Let me look in I've got some people here. Possibly people, here we go, here's some people. Just drag these into the username. And of course, because we didn't have enough images, it does repeat. So I can just go in here, find one more person, drag this into here, and it'll just replace that individual photo. So repeat grids is super cool, saves a ton of time. And again, if you have to make changes, let's say I want to add a bit of a background blur on that shape, you're noticing it just updates throughout the entire repeat grid. I don't have to go back and change every single one. Super convenient. So that's the first feature I want to touch on in this stream to kind of get you inspired about using Adobe XD. And of course, throughout the next 2 weeks, we will dive into a ton of features that will help with your challenges. Next is responsive resize. I'm sure many of you have been designing for various screen sizes. As we're designing websites or mobile apps, one screen size just doesn't work anymore. It used to be where we can design a desktop screen size and then look at the entire thing on our phone. Just doesn't work that way. So we might be in a situation where, we have a desktop, whether you start with desktop or mobile, whatever it might be, you have a screen size, right? And you want to be able to see what it looks like at a smaller size. So let me go ahead and just delete this one for now. Or just, I'll keep it there. I'll just duplicate this over. And by default, responsive resize for entire artboards is off. So if I grab the artboard bounds, move this up or down or in or out, it's not going to do much. That's to allow you to adjust the size of that artboard without having to move objects around. But over here to the right, we've got responsive resize. You turn that on, boop, there we go. And all of a sudden, watch what happens. If I just shrink this inwards, it's intelligently shrinking much of my content, but you're noticing it's not 100% perfect. And usually, we say it gets you about 80% of the way there, but you can certainly do a lot of things to help you get much closer to 100%. So you're noticing as I'm dragging this in, these images at the bottom, right? These images right here are not resizing. So what I can do is I can jump in here, select both of them, turn on my manual constraints, and you're noticing that fix width and fix height is turned on. Maybe I want the height to stay the same, but I don't want the width to stay the same. So I'm gonna turn the width off for both those images. And now if I do the same thing again, you're noticing they resize beautifully. So I can just move that in just like that. And if I want to, I can always go in, grab these two, and because responsive resize is on by default for groups and images, I can just drag this out to make this a little bit bigger. This was a repeat grid in here, so what I could do, I have a few options. I can just drag this over to give the impression that we have additional cards over there that you can slide over, or I can ungroup the grid, make those images bigger, whatever it might be. There's lots of options. And I can just move things around just to kind of, you know, touch up things just a little bit. Zoom in here. Maybe I want to grab these arrows. Or you know what? I can grab that entire group and just responsive resize it, just like that. Super simple. And the same works the other way. So if I have this mobile design, some people start with mobile, some people start with desktop. If I duplicate this over to the right, I can do the exact same thing. I can turn on responsive resize, grab the handle, and resize it. And again, Adobe XD is intelligently figuring out what should remain centered, what should remain left justified, what should resize, what should not resize, and it just does it. And again, usually gets you about 80% of the way there, but if you turn on constraints and really take the time to set up your document, maybe it can get you 100% of the way there. It's super simple. And you're noticing, as I'm dragging this, notice the top, the navigation bar, right? It's kind of stretching a little bit. So what you can do, let me jump in here to my layers. And so those are grouped together. So if I select all of these, I might want them to make sure that they are fixed to the left. And when I do that, if I resize one more time, you're gonna notice they all stay nicely to the left. So again, those constraints are there if you do need to make very small changes, or you wanna make sure that things stay fixed to certain, you know, XD does a pretty good job at recognizing what should stay over to the right, what should stay to the left, but if you have to, you can always jump in there and make some changes. So that's responsive resize. Next, we've got assets. Now, if you're working on big projects, there's a very good chance that you want to save colors and character styles and symbols for future use. But more importantly, you want to make sure you can update those things throughout not just your artboard, but your entire document. So as you're going through your project, what you can do is down here at the bottom, this is the icon. There we go. This is the icon right over there for your assets panel. If you click on that, this is what your assets panel look like. And beside colors and character styles and symbols, there's a plus button. So if I go ahead and select this navigation bar, which is this really nice red-ish color, I press the plus button beside colors, and it's gonna automatically add that to my assets. Now I can also select an entire artboard and press the plus button. It's gonna add all those colors. Of course, you may not need all of those colors or want all of those colors, but that's something you can definitely do. You can do the same thing for character styles. So I'm gonna select Japan here. I'm gonna press character styles, and now it's papyrus, right? I don't know what I was thinking when I designed this, but I decided it was a good idea to use papyrus for the text on this mobile app. Not a good idea. Don't use papyrus. But you're noticing I have papyrus, this text style, on this artboard over here. I've got on that one over there. It's all over the place. And if you imagine if you're designing something for a big project, you might have this text style being used across many, many, many different artboards. There could be hundreds of them, really. But what's nice about character styles and colors is you can retroactively make those changes. So I just added that character style to my assets panel. It wasn't there before. I can very easily right-click on that, press edit, and then change it to something, let's say, Avenir Next is a pretty good font. Maybe I'll want it nice and bold. And you're noticing it doesn't just change it on that artboard, it changes it across the entire document, which is super cool. The same works for colors. I can right click on it, press edit, and I can make the change, just like that. Now, symbols. Symbols is the next thing. Symbols, as many of you know, is changing to components, but I'm not gonna get into that right now. We're gonna talk about symbols. So symbols will allow you to save Symbols will allow you to save elements for future use, and you can also swap symbols. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with symbols. So let me go ahead and delete all these plus buttons just for now. And we have this plus button here. Let's say we want to be able to use this icon throughout our entire document and make sure we can keep it up to date. So what I'm going to do with that icon selected, as you can see right here, I'm going to press the plus button beside symbols. It's going to add it right there. I can go ahead and rename it if I wanted to. I'll just name it plus. And all I have to do now is I can just drag out additional symbols across my document, just like that. I'm going to pop one there, maybe pop one over here. And again, everything's lining up with those smart guides. Super cool. Might want to pop one right here as well. There we go. Perfect. So now again, we've got these symbols spread out across our document, just like character styles and colors. We might want to update them. So all I have to do is jump in here, jump into one of the symbols. Maybe I want the opacity turned down a little bit. I can do that. Maybe I want the background to be filled, and maybe I want the plus button to be a darker color, just like that. And you can very easily do that. But another cool thing is the ability to swap symbols. So let me hop over to Nucleo. Let me look up, you know what? I'll just grab a heart button. So here's a heart icon here. I'll make this a little bit larger, and I'll make it white. And let's say I have been told that all the plus buttons need to be swapped with a heart. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this heart button or heart icon and convert it into a symbol, just like that. And now that it's a symbol, I can delete it from that instance. All I have to do is drag this heart icon onto any of the symbols, and it's going to swap throughout the entire document. Again, doesn't matter if you have 1, 5, or hundreds, it's just going to do it. And once the May update comes out and components are available, you'll be able to resize components. You'll be able to override them. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with them. And once that's available, we'll definitely dive into that. So next, prototyping. We're going to zip through this because we only have a few minutes left. There's a lot of different prototyping features within Adobe XD. On the very basic level, you might want to just switch from screen to screen. So maybe when you press on the search button right up here, click on that. You can drag this blue handle over to the second artboard, just like this. This will be a tap trigger. We're not going to do drag just yet. We're not going to do voice just yet. We just want a user to be able to tap on the button and it'll do something. And in this case, it'll be a transition. So it'll just simply transition to the next screen, and then you can choose how you want that transition to take place. Do you want it to just cut, which will be none? You can dissolve, which will kind of do a fade. Or you want to slide left, push left, up, down, left, right, that sort of thing. I'll just have it, let's say, push to the right, and I'll do an ease in and out. So it's kind of slower at the beginning, slower at the end, and we'll do 0.4 seconds. And all you have to do is press play at the top, press on it, and it slides over. Now, you know what? It's probably the wrong direction. So I will do push left, press on it, and there we go. It just slides over. Now, there's also overlays. So let's say you didn't want to have a completely separate screen for the search experience so a keyboard pops up. Or you wanted that separate screen, but you also wanted a keyboard to pop up from the bottom, right? So what you can do is you can combine that with a time transition. So on this third artboard here, I'm gonna select the entire artboard, drag the handle over to the right to this keyboard artboard. I'm gonna select time, and I want it to take place immediately after it hits that artboard. So it can be a 0-second delay. We're gonna do an overlay, and this will allow me to position this keyboard exactly where I want it. And the cool thing about overlays is that you can use keyboards and menus and things like that on many, many different artboards and only have one instance of it on your document. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna have it slide up from the bottom, and I'll do an in out. Let's go for snap actually with 0.4 seconds. So now when I press on this, it's gonna go to the next artboard, and then the keyboard is gonna slide up. There we go. And Elizabeth is asking, where do you find the keyboard art? Good question. If you go up to the File menu, then go down to Get UI Kits, you can download UI kits for Apple iOS, Google Material, Microsoft Windows, and they have UI keyboards, they have menu bars, buttons, a lot of different things. You can grab that directly here. You'll be taken to a website, just download it, and it's pretty fun. All right, so that's basic prototyping, but then you can get into advanced prototyping and things like drag, for example. So let's say I wanted to be able to drag on this image and transition to this artboard. So I can select this image, move this handle over here. I'm gonna select drag instead of tap, and it's gonna default to auto animate. I can do the exact same thing for this image, drag it over to this one. And that's it, that's all you have to do. When you press play, you can very easily just drag this image from this artboard to this artboard, and then there you go. And then you can combine this with a tap trigger. So let's say I wanted to click on this image here, drag this handle over to the second artboard, We'll do tap, auto animate, we'll do snap. And if you're not familiar with auto animate, essentially what XD is going to do, it's going to look at the differences between this artboard, and it's going to animate the changes. So if I press play, tap, it's going to beautifully animate that and transition to the next artboard. So that will just about do it for this stream. Very quick overview of Adobe XD. As we progress through these challenges, starting tomorrow, we're gonna be diving into a lot more features, some beginner features, some advanced features. We're gonna be teaching you a lot, and stick around in just a few minutes. Terry White is coming up with the Photography Daily Creative Challenge. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you all bright and early tomorrow morning.